Hello guys, this is Vasu. Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I'm gonna show you how to create a weather app. We're gonna use an APIXU, I suppose it's called, API, where we're actually gonna go and grab the city and we're gonna get the current weather of that city. Now, the reason I'm using this API is because I'm gonna enter just the city name and I'm not gonna enter the country that city is located in, and it will give me the most popular city. Although there are other cities with this name, only the most popular is gonna appear. I wanna do this, just show you guys how you can actually build your own weather app. So let's continue into the video and I hope you guys enjoy.
So for this project we will need a single view application. So let's go to Xcode, create a new single view application, and let's call this weather app. Now language is on Swift and device is iPhone. Let's click next, save it, and right here in our storyboard we'll go and create our view. For this view I'll want an image that I'm gonna put at the back of the application and I'm gonna expand it. Now let's go and give it constraints, and I'm gonna make it 0, expand it to every side, and perfect. Now to go and grab this image, and for that image I have run right here in my desktop. So I'm gonna open my assets catalog and I'm gonna drag it in there, and it's called Fantasy Sunset and something. So in here in our image view image, I'll just go and select that. So that's the image that we're gonna have. Now something else that I will need is a search bar. So if I go and type search bar right here, the first one, I'm gonna drag and drop it just under my status bar, and I'm gonna give it constraints 0 from the top, 0 from the left and the right sides, and go and add 3 constraints. Now our search bar is gonna stay up there, and also I'm gonna add a UI view that's gonna fit the same color with my search bar, just so I can make it look clearer, like this. Now I want my search bar, I don't want translucent, and I'm gonna put a bar tint of yellow, and on this view I'm gonna give it yellow color as well, so it can just match. Not background, sorry, actually it's this view. I want to give it yellow. Perfect. Now that I match, what I will want to do is I will want some labels. A label that will say the name of the city that we are looking for the weather for, the condition, like partly clouded or mostly sunny, and then I will want the degrees, how many degrees it is right now, and also an image showing the condition. So let's go and grab those 3 labels and that one image that we need. So I'm gonna type label here, and I'm gonna just go and drag 3 labels for now. I'm gonna fit them in a second. Perfect. Now I want them to have a white color so I can read them, and I also want them to be semi-bold. Now this one is gonna be the city name. Perfect. This one is gonna be the condition, and this is gonna be also semi-bold and white color, and this one is gonna be 10 degrees. Let's leave it like this, and this one I want bold, done, and white color. Now let's go and make the constraints for that. First of all, I want to expand it a bit. I want to center it horizontally, and also I would like to give it a huge font, so I'll go with 25. I think would be good. Yeah, just like this. It looks good, and I'll also like to center this perfectly. This one will be centered as well, and will be just under that one. And let's go and give constraints for this one. This is centered horizontally, and it's gonna be 32 pixels. I'll put from the top, and go add 1 constraint. Perfect. It's gonna stay there. Now this one is gonna be 8 pixels from the top, one, and then centered horizontally as well in the container perfectly. And this one, for this one, let's add it in the middle. And for this one, I would like to give like a very huge amount so I can see it. And I'll go with, let's say 50, and it's gonna be 8 pixels from the top and centered horizontally as well. Let's refresh it. Yeah, it looks good. Now I also want image view. Here, image view. And this image view, I will put 65 and 65 height and 65 width, because that's the picture that we're gonna get from the API that I'm gonna show you in a second. So let's go and put 65 and 65, and this is gonna be 8 pixels from the degrees. So the left one is 8 pixels. We're gonna add 3 constraints, and then we also want to center it vertically like this, and boom, there's our image view. Now we want to go and connect those outlets to our view controller. So let's open a system editor, and in here I'm gonna delete this one, and let's go and connect it on the top. What we need, we want to connect the search bar and say search bar connect. We want to connect our 3 labels so we can change their text, and this is city label like this, this is condition label like this, and this is degree label, and image view like this. Perfect. Now we connected everything. Let's go and see what the API is actually. Here, the API we're gonna use is APIXU, and the site is apixu.com. This is a free API that will give you in a JSON format any weather condition about a specific city. The reason I'm choosing this API in particular is because for this API you need to just enter the city name, and it will give you for the most popular city the conditions. Now I know that some cities are in other countries. For example, London is in UK, but also in the States there's a London, but this API will just give you the conditions of London of UK. Now if you want to use an API that will give you for all the countries, all the cities for any country, then you will have to change the API, but I'm gonna show you on this API how we can do that. And you can go and sign up for a free one. So let's go on free, get started. And right now I'm gonna sign in with my email, and I'm gonna continue in a second. After you sign in, it pops you into this view, and in this view you will see right here it gives you a key. That key you need to get your API working, and as you can see here they give you a current weather and forecast weather API request, and you can see here Q equals, and then you can put Paris. Here where is Paris we can change to whichever city we want. So I'm just gonna copy this URL right here without Paris, and let's go and test it out. Now in here I'm gonna put London like this, and let's go refresh this. Okay, and you can see this is my API request, and you can see London, city of London, Greater London, it says right here. And the main things that I'm more interested in is the icon right here, which is under current, which is under condition, and I'm also interested into temperature on Celsius, not Fahrenheit. I will use the Celsius one. And also I'm interested into the text right here, which is the conditions, and it says light rain. So by having this link that I copied, we will go and send a request. Now let's go back to our code and implement this. Now because we're using a search bar, we will have to convert to a search bar delegate so we can convert to the search button when it's pressed. So let's go and do that. Here, let's go and say UI search bar delegate, like this. And now we need to convert to one method of that delegate, which is search button clicked. So that's the method that is gonna get fired when you press the search button on the search bar. And in here we are actually gonna go and get the API request and find our temperature and the city and everything. Now, to do that, in my previous video I've talked about it, we need to go and create a URL request that we're gonna use for our URL session data task. Now, let's go and create the URL request. Let URL request equals URL request, and that request is made by URL, which URL is made by string. So if you say URL and then use string like this. Now here in string, we're gonna put our API request string, and here in Q, what we want to put is the name of the city we're searching. And the way to do that is by saying / open and close parentheses. And here you want to get the search bar text. So whatever is in our text in the search bar, we're gonna use the city. And we know that this exists. Also, for the search bar to work in this method, we'll have to convert to the delegate. So you can type here search bar dot delegate equals self, just so the search bar can listen to the methods. And we also know that this exists. We need to put exclamation mark here. Now, there's a problem with this one. Imagine you're searching for San Francisco. San Francisco has a space in between, and this one URL is not gonna work. It's gonna give you nil if you put space in between. And a way to fix that, now if I go back right here and I say San Francisco like this and press enter, you can see that automatically inserted a %20. Now %20 translates to space. So I'll copy this and I'll have to use it in my code. Now right here I want to say to replace any space with %20 in order not to get a crash when I'm searching for Los Angeles, San Francisco, Hong Kong, stuff like this. So let's go replace occurrences and of string with string. Now we want to replace the string space with %20. It's very simple, and like this we're not gonna get any crash when we're looking for cities with space. Perfect. Now that we have our URL request, let's go and create the URL session task. So let task equals URL session dot shared the data task with URL request and completion handler, because we want to get the data, which data is going to be our JSON. Now the URL request here is URL request that we created above, and in completion handler just press enter, and it's automatically gonna fill something for you, and we can get either data, a response, and an error. Perfect. Now let's make sure that there's no error. So if error double equal to nil, there's no error, we can go and do our JSON serialization. Now to do a JSON serialization, we need to put that code into a do try catch method. And the way you do that, you just say do parentheses, then we're gonna do something where we're gonna try to catch something, and here is where we're gonna actually catch if there's any error. And let's go and say this catch let JSON error. Now if we catch any error, we are putting it into this variable JSON error, and then we just want to print that error. And by saying localized description to get an actual description of what the error is. Perfect. Now that we got our error, let's go and put the try. And where we're gonna put the try is right here. Let JSON equals and try to do a JSON serialization. Let's say JSON serialization dot JSON object with data and options. And as you can see, that throws. Wherever you see this throws is where you can actually gonna catch that error. So we're gonna use this one, and data, we have data right here, data, and it exists because we got no error. So you're safe to do that. And options, we're gonna use mutable containers. And you want to cast this as a dictionary of string to any object. Perfect. Now that you have your JSON, if you go right here, this is our JSON. And what we want to do is we want to get the JSON, the dictionary of this current, and then we want to go to get the condition and get this icon text, and also we want to get the temperature. How are we gonna do this? First, we'll have to go under this current, and then we'll have to go under this condition to get the icon and text. And also, we're gonna get the temperature. Let's go and do that. If let current, I'm gonna call this variable current, equals JSON, and in JSON, I know that current exists. So I wanna cast this as a string to any object, and I want to open parentheses. Perfectly. Now my current contains this stuff right here, only this. And since I have all this, let's go and grab the temperature. So if let temp equals current, current like this, and this is gonna be temp underscore c as string, or actually no, not a string, as int. Now I went and I put this temp c, which is, I'm gonna put an integer. I don't want 7.2, I would just want 7, and I'm gonna go and grab this and put it in this temp. Now that I have this temp, I want to store it into a variable, which I'm gonna create right here, var temp degree, which is an integer, and this is self.degree equals temp. Perfect. Now I got the temperature. Let's go and grab the conditions and the image URL. So if let condition equals JSON, and under JSON we see here that we have condition. So let's go and type this condition, and this is another dictionary as string to any object again. If we get the condition, we want to save the text and the icon into another variable. So let's go and create those variables. So var condition, which is a string, and var image URL, I'll call it, which is another string, and let's go and save that in there. So self.condition equals condition, and that condition is text, and this as string, and self.image URL equals condition icon, and this as string. So So I went and I extracted the text and the icon from the JSON, which is icon and text right here, and I stored it into my variables. Last thing that I want to get is the city name, right? Which city is under location. So right here, we finish with the current. So we want to stop right here and we want to go and check for location. So if let location equals JSON location as another dictionary of string to any object. And in there, we know that there's a name, which is San Francisco. And we want to go and grab this and save it into another variable. So let's go and create this variable var city, which is string, and say self.city equals location, and that location is name, and as string. Perfect. Now, why did we store those variables here and not instantly put them into the text of the label? The reason is because you cannot update something in the user interface while you're in the background thread. So we need to dispatch a queue to the main thread and then update the labels. But there's a problem. What will happen if we put another city name that doesn't exist? So let's go and type this. So I'm gonna put like random names here, like this. Oops, this actually exists. Let's go type like this. Okay, I get an error and a message no matching location found. So what will happen this? After we get the JSON, we want to check if let something we don't care about equals JSON error. Now, if our JSON has an error, that means that we didn't get any of those. So we want to say to our user like something no matching city found. So for this, we'll have to go and create a variable of Boolean type saying like something exists. So var exists, which is a Boolean with a default value of true. Now, and in here we want to say self.exists equals to false, that this city does not exist. Now, let's go and fire this main queue. The way you do this is dispatch queue.main.async. And in here you can go and update your labels. But you want to update the labels only if the city exists. So if self.exists, now if this is true, go and update the labels with the degrees and everything. So let's go and say self.degree label dot text equals to self.degree dot description, just so you can get the string value of that. And here, so self.city label dot text equals to self.city, and self dot, what do we have, condition label dot text equals to self.condition. Otherwise, we want to actually hide like the degree and the condition and the image view and displaying the city label text like no matching city found. So let's go and say that self.degree label dot text equals, actually not text, sorry, hidden, is hidden equals to true. Self.condition label dot is hidden to true, and the image view self.image view that is hidden equals to true. Now I'm gonna take a bit of time to explain to you how we're gonna get the image. First, let's go and see if this actually exists, works. Self.city label, we want to say the city label to be like something, no matching city font. And also in here, we say self.exists back to true in order to get a new request. So let's go and see if this actually works. Now I'm gonna open this. And the reason it's not gonna work right now is because we are trying to get a request right here, and we need to allow arbitrary loads into our info plist. So in here we go and press somewhere like a plus button, and in here say app transport, it automatically fills for you, app transport security settings, go yes, open it, and then press a small button, plus button again, allow arbitrary loads, and in this one, instead of no, you want to say yes. Now let's go and run this and see if it actually works. Let me remove this. Okay. Now city name condition and 10 is actually like this because we didn't hide them at the beginning, and that's how storyboard looks like, as you can see. Let me go and type like London, and you can actually open the, you see, and I press search. This didn't work because in here we forgot to put the task to resume. So where we created the task right here, we want to say task dot resume. Oops, resume. Now let's go and try it again. Now in here, let's go and type, let me close this, London, press enter, and you can see London and 11. Now, for some reason, the condition did not get updated. Let me see why. The reason that we didn't get the condition is because here I said JSON, and whereas I should have said current. So current right here, condition. Let's go and see if this is gonna work. London, enter, and yeah, you can see London and overcast. And where in this one, you can see it's true. Now we also have the image. How are we gonna go and download this image? For the image, we'll have to go and create an extension of an image view that will actually download the image in another URL session. And here in the very bottom, let's go and type extension UI image view. I've showed this in my other videos, and it's very good function to have if you are actually downloading images. So here we say function download image, and here I will put like a label from URL, and the URL is string. What this does, for any image view, you will have this function to call and pass a URL, and it's going to download the image, and it's going to set the image of that image view to whatever is in that URL. So for this, you'll go and create a URL request like we did before, and that URL request, the URL, and this URL is made out of string, and that string is the URL that you are passing, and that exists. And that's the URL. So now let's go and create the task. Let task equals URL session. Same thing as we did with the JSON. Share the data task with URL request, and the URL requests again URL request, completion handler, data, response, and error. Again, oops, error. And in the code, you want to check if error double equal to nil, dispatch main queue, because as I said, you want to update the user interface only in the main thread, and since we are gonna do that in here, we're gonna say self.image. Now this self.image refers to the image view that calls this method, equals a UA image, this one, out of data. And this data is the data that we are receiving. That exists. That simple function right here, and here you say task.resume. Now that we created this function, we can go and right here where we know that this exists, we want to say self.imageView.download image from URL, and the URL is self.image URL. And this exists, just like this. Now let's go and see if that actually works. Also, one thing that we need to do is, after we find the matching city, we are hiding those. So in here, we will need to unhide them in order to see them again in another request. So let's go and say London here. And this did not work. Oh yeah, the reason this didn't work is, image URL is, you can see, has those two slashes at the front, and we will have to go and replace those slashes. And the way we did this, now in here we got the image, so I'm gonna put here let icon equals this one, and here we say self.image URL equals open quotes and type http colon and then backslash, close and open parentheses, open and close parentheses, and say icon. Now let's go and see if this will actually work. Because of these two slashes, when we do the URL session, it doesn't actually work. So let's go and see now London, and yeah, we got this cloud in there. Now let's go and type San Francisco, and you can see light rain, and bit light rain says the degrees, and you can see I'm missing the degree symbol right here, so you can just simply type like degree symbol on Google, and you can just copy it right here, and on your code where you say degree label right here equals this, you can open quotes and here backslash, open parentheses and close parentheses on this one, and put the degree. And as I said, we need to unhide those things after we found an unmatching city. So you can say false, false, false. And lastly, what we want to do is, if we go to our storyboard, let me hide this for a second, right, this one, we want to hide all those. So the reason is we don't want them to appear when we first start the app. So if you open here the attributes and go hidden, hidden, true, and this one hidden, and this one, instead of saying city name, just say search for a city, like this. I didn't press enter. Okay, now let's go and try this and see this is our final build and how it actually works. So it says now search for a city, and I'm gonna go and type like London again. I press enter and it says London, overcast, 10 degrees, cloudy. And now I'm gonna go and type like nothing. It says no matching city found. Perfect. Now I'm gonna go and type Los Angeles, and it says light rain, 11 degrees. I can also say like Berlin, -4, cloudy, and everything. So that's the app.
This is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Now I want to give you a small challenge. From where we got the request link, there's also a forecast request. And I want to challenge you guys to go and actually create a full weather app with a daily forecast, and then you can send me the results so I can review them. I'm truly positive that you can guys do that, so let's go and create your own weather app. If you like the video, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this, and I will see you in the next video.